People are stressed. There are mental health consequences to this. That's a cost on the human side that's going to translate one way or another to the finance side, right? Whether it means you have to bring people together to get things done so that they feel cohesive, whether that means that you have to spend more on the environment for people at home so that they feel secure. So Harmeet, how are you factoring that in, even as you're happy about how productive people have been up to this point?
Yeah, it's a very good point you bring up, John. The myth that working from home was not productive has been busted. The new ways of working, and I believe we're going to settle into a culture where working from anywhere is going to be the new norm. You can work from home, you can work from the office, or you can work, a hybrid arrangement. What we did very quickly is any new commercial real estate that we were exploring, we pulled the plug on. And we said, at a minimum, let's figure out how we're going to reorient the new workplace. Employee burnout is a core issue. What we have done, first we've listened to our employees. You've got to be empathetic. You've got to communicate, as was just mentioned by Robin, from Workday on a more regular basis. We've just announced that there will be no meetings on Fridays. Every last Friday of the month is going to be off for the company. Our meetings are going to be shorter, and we're going to communicate more digitally. I'll give you an example. My head of tax retired after decades of work yesterday, and we held a virtual reception and a thank party for him. We thanked him for his contribution. We've got to celebrate small moments and bring the collaboration, things that we miss back, together as a team. So I think celebrating wins, think proactively, I think are the areas to think about.
Let's spend some time with Matt on that one. I'm really interested in this concept of human costs eventually translating into financial costs. At Hilton, in your culture, you're very much used to being sensitive to human needs, both on the customer side, and I would hope and imagine, especially based on that best company ranking, internally as well. How are you measuring the human cost of the change that we're all going through in this environment, and how do you expect it, maybe multiple ways, to translate into financial costs?
Yeah, John, it's a good question and really high on our minds. Probably our top priority right now is to make sure that we're taking care of our workforce so that they can take care of our guests. And I believe we're going to go through a second wave of what we call team members or employee duress. The first wave was when the crisis first hit us all back in the spring. The second now is what I'll call a settling in duress, where we're realizing that this crisis is going to be longer term. Schools are back in session. Parents are having to balance lots of different needs of school-age children or even college-age children. Whatever the personal situation might be for any of your employees, I think there's this second wave of duress that's going to hit. It's causing, I think, lower productivity, not higher. I think isolationism from all this work from home is something that we can expect to see more of and the effects of it. And keeping our workforce connected to our priorities was sustainable for a bit of time remotely, but is going to be harder as time goes on. So we're trying to figure out ways to engage the workforce in a more dynamic way, not just virtually, but rather thinking about ways we can get our offices reopened to safely engage in person. Of course, at our properties, we've been in person since reopening them. Whenever the case may be, at the 6,200 properties around the world. So we have those dynamics to work through with the effects of wearing PPE while you're trying to deliver your hospitality at a local level. And so these types of employee well-being matters are high on our mind, and we're learning as we go, to be perfectly frank.